Playing with big money.
Jack, you in the back, can you hear? Yeah. Yes, okay. Well, good evening, thanks for coming to the presentation. I'm Don Paul Baker, for those of you who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting. I'm one of you all. My wife Gail and I have lived here in Sun City since late 2010. At that time, I was not actually practicing law. I practiced law for nearly 30 years in Texas. Then I moved out here to work for the federal government, and in late last year I left, and I've been developing a law practice since then. I've had about 30 years of litigation, and also doing things like wills and trusts and drafting documents and contracts and things. But most of, I guess, my background was in litigation, so when it comes to doing property tax appeals and litigating a little bit against a legal opponent like the Board of Tax Assessors, I feel like I'm sort of back in the saddle again. How many of you all attended Monday afternoon's session with Mr. Lillard from the County Board of Tax Assessors? Okay, well, thank you. He and I agreed that we wouldn't badmouth each other. He's a nice guy. I told him to speak poorly of me in front of my friends, and I won't speak poorly of you. He's a good man. The people who are involved in the property tax appeal system, by and large, are good people, and I don't have anything nasty to say about them. It's just that they've got a job to do, and I think we have a job to do ourselves. We have an opportunity to look at property tax appeals as one of the few instances where we as citizens get to be directly involved in setting taxes that we wind up writing a check for to the government. And I think it's definitely worth considering doing a property tax appeal, that is from the assessment that we all received by notice dated, I believe it was July 8th, giving us 45 days to file a property tax appeal by the deadline of a week from tomorrow, August 22nd. But we have an opportunity to make sure that it's done fairly. It gives us a chance to be directly involved in setting the amount of taxes that we're going to pay to Spalding County. If nothing else, simply filing an appeal defers payment of 15% of the tax bill. And when we're talking about an average tax bill in Sun City of anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000, that's at least deferring writing a check until the appeal is over for amounts of anywhere from maybe $500 to $700. And given the rate at which appeals are being processed by the county, you're talking about maybe 12 to 18 months. So I say, why not? Why not appeal? And it really can't get any worse, can it? I mean, they've already billed you. You're going to write, and they're going to expect you to write a check for that amount unless we can do something to lower the amount. And it's not like they're going to be raising the assessment or raising the property value, that is the appraised value. So it can't get any worse. Let's give it a shot and see what we can do to lower our taxes. And we have had some success. Had some success for a couple of specific property owners on Tallulah, where their tax bills for 2010 and 11 have been lowered so far by appraised values that are translated into tax savings of over $700, and we're still going. So it's worth it, I think. Now, as a favor to everybody who attended tonight, and for those of you who RSVP'd, I've already prepared the PT 311 311A forms. And if you want to, all you need to do really is sign it and either hand carry it yourself down to the courthouse annex, which is right across the street from the Spalding County Courthouse. Or if you leave it here, sign and leave it here with me tonight and get it to me by no later than a week from today, August 21. I'll hand carry it myself, make sure that it's timely filed. What I'm going to do is just start these going around the room. They're in alphabetical order, so if you find yours, then pass it on. And if you don't have one, then perhaps I didn't get your name on the list correctly. Don't worry, don't panic, there's plenty of time. This is something free I'm doing for everybody in Sun City who wants to file an appeal, because you got to file that appeal and get that going before August 22nd, or you're really out of the game until next year. Let's talk a little bit about what you have to do to file an appeal and who it is that you are appealing to if you've never been through this process before. There are some tricks to it. There are some processes that it's helpful to understand going in, but it is not anything that anyone in this room cannot handle. I think I had about 3 negatives in there. It's something that everybody in this room can handle, okay? And if you like some assistance, some experienced assistance, I'm happy to provide that. I'm already representing over 70 property owners, that is couples, in appeals that have been pending in Spalding County since 2010. I'll show you some statistics here in a minute, but about 70, there's 105 or so property owners who still have pending appeals in Spalding County. I'm working with about 70 of them. And those are coming up for hearing sometime in the near future. According to the scheduling, the young lady doing the scheduling of these that I talked to today, they will probably be set for hearing in early October. But that's just for the appeals 2012, 2011, and 2010. And for those who filed in 2013, that's going to be a whole different matter, a whole different group, a whole different hearing date. Yes.
I'm new here, so
Okay.
in my old state, when they gave us our taxes, they billed us quarterly. They billed, pay it all at once.
They bill you all at once, or they bill, like if the mortgage company, if you know, your monthly mortgage payment includes a component for property taxes, they send it directly to the mortgage company.
But if you don't have a mortgage.
If you don't have a mortgage, no, they just send out the bill at one time. What happens is, they're supposed to actually get it out by around April or May, but Spalding County is either shorthanded or inefficient or whatever. The past 2 years, the one in 2012 didn't go out till August 1. The current 2013 assessments went out July 8th, and then you have 45 days after that to appeal. But what the assessor does is simply say, this is what the estimated amount of your bill is going to be. If you appeal, they then, and I meant to show you this is a sample of a temporary tax bill, happens to be mine. I'm sorry if you can't read it, but once you get your temporary tax bill, see down here, they noted that it's appealed, and then they bill you for 85%. They send a temporary tax bill, and you have to pay that 85%, but they defer payment of the 15% until after the appeal is resolved. And like I said, it's been taking Spalding County now many, many months to get around to processing the appeals. So, filling out the PT 311A form, this is a form that you can actually find on the Department of Revenue, the State Department of Revenue's website. go to dor.georgia.us, and just look for under forms. There's a tab for forms. Look under for the category of property tax property forms. Click on there, and there'll be a whole list, and you'll see one for property tax appeals. That's the PT 311A form. It's the standard form that's used in all counties of Georgia. You open that up in a PDF format, or into one that you can fill out. You can't save the information, but you can fill it out and then print it out.
Excuse me, what was that email address again?
It's the website is dor.ga.us.
Thanks.
DOR, that stands for Department of Revenue, .ga.us. And then there's a tab you'll see for forms. Click on that, click on the category for property, and then another page will open up and you'll see one for all the property related forms, and just look for PT 311A. I should have meant to bring some blank forms, because these don't have to be filled out on the computer, they don't have to be typed, they can be handwritten in. That's just as good as filling it out by computer. But it's not a complicated form to fill out, but it is very important that you get everything right. First of all, be sure and indicate that you're appealing 2013. That's a field that's easy to miss. Then you just fill in put in some fictitious names here. Each of the property owners, or one, whatever the case may be. The address is right here. Up here, your home telephone number or work phone if you want to provide it. Then there's a real tiny field for your email. From your property assessment form, you can get an account number. That's a 5-digit account number. And then what's also important is what's known as your parcel ID number. And this is a 8-digit form or field number. All the Sun City ones begin with either 300, 301, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 306. But it's right there on your assessment form. And then even the property legal description, which is basically like 36, lot 50 or something. Yes, sir. Yeah, thanks for asking that. What I'm passing around is, again, for those of you who are RSVP'd, I've already gone to the trouble of filling out one for you. And some of you have already indicated you'd like me to handle the entire appeal for you, as opposed to simply getting you this free form and hand carrying it down there. So for those of you who have already indicated that you filled out a letter of authorization, I'll take care of signing that and filing it. You don't need to do anything yourself. And some of those who are here tonight are already part of the group I'm representing with the 2012 and earlier appeals. And you've already indicated that you want me to handle your 2013 appeals, so you don't need to do anything either. So you may not find a customized PT 311A form in what I'm passing around, but everything that is going around the room, when you find yours, you'll see it's as accurately as possible. Already looked at your assessment. It's available online on the county's website, and I've already filled in the necessary parcel ID number, the account number, and the legal description. Now, down here, you can either sign yourself, or if you were to retain a professional or some other representative, and it doesn't have to be an attorney, by the way, but if you were to retain an agent, then
What kind of an agent?
that agent would actually sign down there. One thing I want to point out to you is that down here, you residential property. Again, when you find your form in there, you're welcome to take it with you and either file it yourself if you want to, or have me file it. But just be sure you fill out all these forms. Now, these places where I've highlighted is all that is required. What's this over here? It says, the owner or the agent's declared value. This is something that's been added new this year. And I'm here to tell you that you are not required by state law to actually declare a value. Why do they want you to declare a value? Because you might be actually setting yourself up for failure in front of the Board of Equalization. For instance, they may say, great, we'll take that value. Had you gone to the Board of Equalization and presented good evidence of inconsistent property values with your neighbors or in other pods, people who have been valued lower than you, you could have actually gotten a lower number. You are not required to put a value in there, and if you want to write anything down, you just quote them the statute. It's Georgia Code 48-5-311, parens E. And that section of the statute establishes what you must include when you are filing an appeal form, especially this 311A form. So you just tell them, my lawyer or a lawyer that I heard address this topic said that we don't have to, it's not required by state law, and if you can show me where in state law it requires me to declare a value, then I'll think about doing that. Otherwise, please, Mr. Board of Tax Assessor person, file my form. Yes, sir.
Could you give me that number again? My shorthand sucks.
No problem. Georgia Code